People still talk about the American dream like it's a fixed address. The American dream has always been an interesting term because it means that you have to be sleeping to believe it. Work hard, build something, buy a home, raise a family, get ahead, study hard, work hard, buy a house, and live free. The problem is not that this story was ever perfect. The problem is that the math underneath it has been changed. I have spent more than 20 years inside the legal and financial systems. Banking, litigation, regulatory disputes, immigration, civil rights defense. 3 different administrations and 3 different speeches, but the same machinery. Courtrooms and boardrooms teach you something that simple narrative never will. A system tells the truth through the outcomes, not through promises. Let's start with economic mobility. For most professionals today, when their income increases, their life does not usually get easier. Housing costs more, healthcare costs more, education costs more, and taxes eat a portion of that. Insurance is more expensive, there are more fees and more compliance. You don't feel richer, but you do definitely feel busier. Professionals today can earn what would have been considered an awesome salary 20 years ago, but still feel permanently behind because down payments look like fantasy numbers, and childcare looks like a second mortgage. College feels like a controlled demolition of financial savings. This is not ambition failing. It's simple arithmetic failing. It's an economic failure. Wealth creation is supposed to feel like building something structured. In the USA, it increasingly feels like you're dragging a heavy object uphill while someone keeps adding weight to it. The further you go along, the more it weighs. And taxes are a part of that weight. Federal taxes, state taxes, city taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, payroll taxes, permits, compliance, extra fees. Many high performers live in a constant state of financial reporting, compliance, and justification. You don't simply earn a living, you reconcile. And that leads to the next problem. Overregulation has turned entrepreneurship into a compliance profession. I've seen business owners spend more time dealing with government filings and forms and portals and risk management than actually building products or marketing their services, or even serving their clients. Deals die because approvals take too long. Ideas die because the regulatory surface areas is just too large. This doesn't look like oppression, it looks like paperwork, but it still is government control. Then, the part most people avoid discussing until it touches them directly, government overreach. 20 years in the legal and banking environment changes how you see this. I saw bank accounts get flagged and frozen because the algorithm decided something looked off or unusual. Even if it was your own money, you had no access to it. I saw approvals get reopened because internal interpretations changed, and I saw people lose access to what was rightfully theirs. Ownership means very little if access can be denied. Digital privacy didn't vanish all at once, it dissolved quietly. Now government systems talk to each other. Financial data, travel data, tax data, filings and platforms all blend into government profiles that no human really reviews. All of this is sold as public safety, but in practice, it feels like permanent supervision. And it's not about politics, because I saw it between different administrations. This is about structure. Systems built now for control, and they grow because nobody inside them gets rewarded for restraint. If you spend time in Mexico or Brazil or Thailand, you see none of them are perfect. All of them have problems. All of them have bureaucracy. But it feels much different than it does in the United States. What they don't have, at least in the same scale, is the friction of doing business. You can still start businesses faster and fix problems with a conversation instead of through government portals. There's better access because those are emerging economies. In Brazil, markets are chaotic, but there's opportunity for real growth. And growth still feels like growth, not like encumbrances. In Thailand, rules exist because it can be strict, but they're not omnipresent. It doesn't feel like a continuous government audit. Maybe the American dream is not dead. Maybe it simply moved. Maybe the dream was never about a flag or a zip code. Maybe it was about building a life where effort turned into progress instead of paperwork and government compliance, where success buys time instead of additional stress. Rules exist, but they don't dominate every decision. Here's the part that successful professionals are starting to realize, is that wealth is not just about money. Wealth is about time. Wealth is about options. And wealth is the ability to decide without asking for permission. International relocation is becoming the new American dream, not because other countries are magical, but because the United States, building a life, should not feel like a permanent negotiation with the government. This is not about running away. This is about choosing better terrain. If this resonates with you, don't turn it into a rant. Turn it into a plan to relocate. And we can continue the conversation in the Expat Expert Exchange. It's our own online community where we can talk about things that we can't talk about in monolithic social media websites. It's not controlled by an algorithm. It's run by real humans. And it's administered by myself. Thanks and take care.